I love VR games. I love how cool they make me feel. I love the potential they have to elevate this medium. I just have one major problem: motion sickness. Thing is, if I'm in full control of my motions and environment, I am completely fine. But the moment the world begins to move and I'm physically not moving with it, no thanks. I've been able to make it all these years because of accessible options like teleportation movement. In fact, that's how I played all the way through Resident Evil 4 VR and reviewed it. And you know what? I had a great time. I loved every single second of it. So much so that I gave that game a 9 out of 10. And then I read some of the comments, and they were not too thrilled about the whole teleportation thing. But there was also one other factor. I knew that this bad boy, the PSVR 2, was just around the corner. And this guy wanted to be as fully immersed as possible without any motion sickness whatsoever. So that meant I had to get my VR legs. Cool. Which brings us to 1 year ago. Welcome back. My end goal is to be able to endure 1 hour of full immersion VR. So, it's about time I get my VR legs. The date is January 25th. It's approximately 3 p.m. and so we begin. And that went, well, the same as every other attempt. At first, it's fine. I'm having a great time. And then there's a few occurrences that feel a little weird. And then usually 10 to 15 minutes sharp, I'm out.
Yeah, I can't do anymore. That's fine. It's okay.
Do a quick search and you'll find that everyone's got their own solution to overcome the ever dreadful VR sickness. So for me, as someone who's starting at square one, what do I have to lose other than to try them all? And the first method on the list is a pretty popular one that seems pretty simple.
What is your advice to overcome motion sickness in VR, if you have any?
So when I started playing VR, I got really motion sick too. I'd get those like hot flashes and I get sweaty and I feel nauseous. The game that sort of knocked me out of that loop is called Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. There's a mode of movement called Arm Swinger, where you literally have to hold a button on each controller, and the more you swing your arms, the faster you'll go. And I'm there in the living room like this. Now, when I'm playing VR games, I can be at full sprint, looking to the side, like checking hallways and stuff, and I'm absolutely fine.
And you're good.
The date is January 27th. The time is currently 2:45, and so begins first day of physical movement stuff. Okay.
I'm here to save the president's daughter. I would be the most unintimidating government agent if there ever was one. Either that or I'd be all the more terrifying. I already feel like I'm starting to sweat. All right, I'm done.
1 extra minute than usual. So I don't actually know if the movement of the arms helped at all because I only played for a minute longer than I usually do. Moving my arms a bunch just made me feel like hot and tired. Dave, I'm so happy that works for you. I'm gonna pass on that one.
What's your tips and tricks for dealing with motion sickness in VR?
Motion sickness generally is something that I've struggled with in my life, especially when I was younger, to the point where I couldn't get into a car without feeling sick. But one of the methods which I thought was just a old kind of like wives' tale / South Asian Pakistani mom has made this up is ginger. My mom was always adamant that having ginger in my mouth would help. Back in the day, I used to just get a slice of ginger, a small amount, and just put it like in my cheek and in between my teeth and my cheek, and kind of treat it like it's a hard candy.
Here we go.
Oh, where'd that come from? I'm coming for you.
Oh boy. It was only like 13 minutes. I don't feel like it's getting any better. It always feels fine at first. I get a little too excited and then I go all in and then usually just no. I don't mind the taste of ginger. That's a good part. Wow, 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 wow. I'm sorry, my sweet dear friend. That's 22 minutes. That's the best I've ever done. I know, it sucks. I know, you're so mad. Man! I've set a record time of being in VR for 32 minutes, and I feel just about fine. After over a week of trying these methods day after day, I eventually felt as though I got my VR legs. And you know what? I'm not actually sure I got them because of any of these methods, or if it was just exposure therapy by just doing it over and over and over again. Going cold turkey. And pushing myself to just do it a little longer every single time. No sickness. Nothing. It's been like 30 minutes. And I'm fine. From that moment on, I was finally able to experience a bunch more games that I couldn't endure before. Games that didn't even have teleportation movement. I already felt like a badass VR dude before, but now I felt exactly the same, but I could move around. I felt like I had done it. So here we are, 1 year later. And guess what? I still got motion sick. But I still love VR. I had convinced myself that if I was able to put myself through this test, if I was able to overcome motion sickness and go full motion and move around with an analog stick, that I would be all the much more immersed. And you know what? It does not matter. Is this not a man that looks completely immersed? If you hadn't seen what I was playing, it wouldn't have mattered. I was having a good time. That's it. I was having such a good time that I punched a chunk off the door and I didn't even notice. Oh, that hurt. Nor do I care because I was having fun. So much fun that I'll just completely decimate my entire apartment. Why not? The reality is, even when I was withstanding like 40, 50-minute sprints, I really wasn't enjoying myself to play any longer than that. This shit's exhausting. Or maybe I'm just an old man, I don't know. I don't regret experimenting or at least taking the time to try and overcome motion sickness, but I wouldn't say it was worth it or that I would suggest anyone else do the same because my enjoyment for these games has not changed at all. I can definitely handle full motion better than I did a year ago, but it also isn't without its ups and downs.
Okay, that's bad.
The beauty is that I can change the movement controls to fit however I'm feeling in that moment. That is if the game allows it, because unfortunately, not all do. The real hurdle isn't just us overcoming motion sickness, but rather for an industry to find ways to make their games more accessible so players can experience them however they need to feel most comfortable. But that's just what I think. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go wander the island of Mist and pretend that I remember all the puzzles.
Everything looks huge in VR. These are the biggest I've ever seen. You are a big ass man, you know that?